and welcome to the Organic MD podcast.
Hi, this is Dr. Damon Miller. I'm your Organic MD.
And this is Carlisle Coash. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
So today, we're going to be talking about supporting yourself if you've been exposed to radiation. And this includes kind of cleaning up the mess that's made if you've had radiation therapy for a cancer. But it also includes the ways that we're all exposed to radiation because of the ever-increasing contamination of the environment with radioactive isotopes, beginning with all the above-ground nuclear testing and the bombs that were dropped on Japan during the Second World War, and things that have crept into the environment from nuclear power plants and small amounts just as a natural kind of ways that they're not 100% clean, and centers around the country and around the world that have been processing nuclear fuel and making bombs. Those all have a certain amount of pollution. And then there have been some rather dramatic and famous accidents, 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, the reactors at Fukushima that all, dumped a fair amount of isotopic radiation, particles, radioactive particles into the environment. And I'll just start by saying, we're doing this, honestly, a lot of this was prompted by people's concerns with the most recent accident, the one in Japan at Fukushima, where 3 reactors melted down. It's a situation still completely out of control, and we'll probably be dumping radiation into the environment for another 100 years, if not longer. And I just also want to say, my original board certification was in diagnostic radiology, and part of that training was to prepare me to be a radiation safety officer in a hospital. So that's my credential for this.
We'll have to get you like a special hat or something.
Yeah, I don't know what that hat would look like, but
I'll have to work on it.
Okay.
I like the fact that you could be a safety. There's only small staff here, but we do need a safety officer.
Oh, we do. We need a radiation safety officer.
I know.
Oh, good. Thank
just
you.
In case
you're nominating me then.
Yes.
Thank
you. You're the only one trained to do it.
And then
I don't think I would be a good choice.
And the other, and again, there's a lot of literature out there, but the one that is kind of the textbook is a study that's renewed or revised every 5 years in this country, and it's called the BEIR. It's put out by the National Academy of Sciences. BEIR stands for the biological effects of ionizing radiation. And so the National Academy of Sciences is charged by Congress to come up with information and guidelines on the effects of different sorts of ionizing radiation. And one of the things that they say every year, every 5 years, they come out and they say, there is no amount of exposure to radioisotopes that is safe. There's a measurable biological effect from any amount of exposure to ionizing radiation from radioactive isotopes. And we have this post accompanies a video of a talk I gave a little while ago. And I really encourage you, if you're interested, to watch that because there's a lot of detail that I just can't go into in a few minutes here. But suffice it to say, the point I really want to make is when we're talking about these radioactive isotopes, they are very different from ionizing radiation that you would be exposed to from cosmic rays or medical X-rays or things like that.
Or the sun, right?
Or the sun. Well, cosmic rays, yeah. And so and that's really important to keep in mind because there's often in the press, people will say, oh, well, the amount of radioactivity from the isotopes released at Fukushima or Chernobyl, it doesn't compare with the amount of radiation you're exposed to on a cross-country flight where you're flying at 30,000 feet and exposed to a lot of cosmic radiation. But the thing...
It does seem like there's maybe part of this is sort of saying, what's the difference then?
Yeah, well, the difference is this.
Obviously, it's not good for me to get sunburned a lot or kind of, if I'm out in the sun a lot, there's certainly skin cancers and things that come from that.
But that's a little different. We're talking here about let's use cosmic rays.
So you're higher up, and those rays obviously are different if I'm flying in an airplane.
Right. Usually the atmosphere absorbs most of those, or deflects really more than absorbs. But if you get at 30,000 feet, there's less atmosphere, and so you have a little more exposure from space.
That makes sense.
But the thing about the cosmic rays is that cosmic rays, most of them are of such high energy, they never react with a single molecule in your body. A cosmic ray passes through the plane, through you, back out the other side of the plane, through the Earth, and out the other side. So really the critical thing about any kind of radiation is what is the biological effect that radiation has. And the biological effect has to do with how likely is that exposure to radiation, how likely is it to actually interact with any kind of reaction with any molecule or cell in your body. So something like a diagnostic X-ray, a mammogram or a CT scan, those X-rays are designed specifically to be absorbed. And that's how you get a picture, is there's, bone absorbs more than fat, that absorbs less than water. And so you get differential absorption. Not all the tissues absorb these very specially designed X-rays at the same amount. And so you see the differences in density and you get an image. Mm-hmm. Whereas, cosmic rays, such high energy, they just never interact with anything. The thing, though, about ionizing radiation, so these isotopes that come out of reactors and bombs tend to behave similarly to molecules that our body needs. So strontium that might come out of a reactor gets incorporated into the bone. Mm-hmm. And once your body has picked up radioactive strontium and put it in your bone, that molecule sits there irradiating the surrounding bone for the rest of your life. And so bone cancers are very common in people exposed to the fallout from nuclear bombs. If you absorb radioactive iodine, it gets taken up by your thyroid and you get thyroid cancer, or it destroys your thyroid. If you are exposed to radioactive cesium, that behaves like potassium. It gets lodged in your muscles and you get sarcomas. And so a single molecule of plutonium, if it lodges in your lung, it's going to be irradiating that local lung tissue for the rest of your life. And so lung cancers are very common from plutonium exposures.
We don't turn into like a version of Godzilla. Like we don't get really big, do we?
No, we just get really miserable diseases.
Damn.
At an increasing rate. And so how much of an increased rate? It may not be huge. It depends on how much exposure. But the point is, and this is what those studies from the National Academy of Sciences, is that it's measurable. A little tiny bit of exposure causes a measurable increased risk. So this is not a zero risk thing. And, there is, just watch the study I gave on that. Also, I have some information about the relationship between radiation and cancer in the talks I give on the cancer cascade. Those are also on the YouTube channel, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cancer cascade is, yes.
Yeah, so there's additional stuff there. Very interesting. So just real quick, I want to say there are some things you can do that help flush isotopes from your body. There are extracts of sprouts, so we use a product called Stress Release. There are some homeopathics for radiation support that we have. It's a homeopathic called Radiation Support. And probably the most important thing you can do is these are all really minerals. And so keeping your body full of healthy minerals with regular mineral supplementation has been shown to be a very effective way to prevent these isotopes from lodging. If your body's not hungry for potassium, hungry for cesium or these other trace minerals, if you're taking non-radioactive forms of those, then those radioactive isotopes don't have as many places to land.
I was kind of hoping that you were going to say if I ate a lot of Cheetos and Oreos, that would help.
Well, that hasn't been studied. So that would be, we could probably
any excuse for me,
darn. We could probably get that study funded, which is a sad statement in itself. But
I'd much rather take the minerals, I think.
Yeah, take the minerals, take the stress release, use the homeopathics. And
that's, I think, a much better route.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it's not a happy topic, but they're not all going to be like this.
Well, I did try to bring in Godzilla, but
Godzilla. Godzilla it's kind of the monster that is awakened in all of us by the fear that this subject brings. I think, it's no accident that Godzilla came at the height of the Cold War and worried about, the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were still fresh in people's minds, and a lot of testing going on with nuclear bombs, and now these the new Godzilla that just came out this last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Godzilla just came out when the world has this kind of silent, unspoken, but very real fear about, the radioisotopes in the environment from things like Fukushima. And so, those are, there's a reason those monsters exist. They, we have these fears, and that's what they look like when you put them up on the screen.
They're lighting your city on fire.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is Dr. Damon Miller. I encourage you to subscribe to the podcasts and subscribe to the YouTube channel for notification when we put up more things. I'm your Organic MD, and I thank you.
And this is Carlisle Coash. Again, if you have suggestions or any questions for us, please leave comments. Also, if you have a thought about a particular topic you want us to talk about, just let us know. We are more than happy to create a podcast and some posts and a video around those things. So we're really open to those suggestions. But thank you for spending a little time with us, and have a good day.
Thank you.